that was strange. So I'm not really sure why the video paused, but whatever. But as a copper colored being, your skin is a semiconductor of electricity. And so as you come and connect with the sun and with the moon and with the earth and with the elements, this literally charges your body. And when you allow what it is that you consume internally also to be in harmony with nature externally, you bring yourself into, this frequency where you realize who you are, right? You step into this gnosis. And so, of course, I'm not the only person, we know this, but sometimes we forget. Sometimes it requires remembrance. It's a remembrance. So the more time that you spend feeding your cells and giving yourself life-affirming affirmations, like speaking life into your cells, into yourself, you know what I mean? The more you realize the level of power that you innately possess, right? So anyway, one thing, the reason that's necessary is because that actually helps to regulate the blood pressure, regulate the blood sugar, like it helps to literally reprogram or allow your cells to remember that you are a sovereign being internally. You see what I'm saying? It is what it is. You are a sovereign being. So remembering to connect with yourself, to connect with your cells, to connect with all of you is so key, especially when there's so much that is built in to create disharmony, disunion, misalignment, all of the things, right? And to have you so fragmented that you don't pause and examine what is happening, right? And so this is one of the, being able to cross-examine yourself. You know what I'm saying? Really being able to cross-examine yourself and see where things are that you have put in your life that is surrounding you. That's, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so for those of you who maybe want, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But I hope y'all get out and get a chance to enjoy nature and enjoy, all things. I know it's a lot going on in the world, and this is why I do what it is that I do. This is why I show up the way that I show up, because, there's so much, there's so much. And women, you are so fucking powerful. You see? So you are so fucking powerful. And I need you to remember that. I need you to know that. So one of the things that I've done is I've created a spring cleaning toolkit that's available on the consciouscreations.live website. And it is called Blooming Ratio. It is made with a tea blend that is called the Flower of Life. And when you see it, you'll get what it is that I'm saying. But it's created with herbs that are all blends of the spectrum, so that you see clearly, so that you can see all you can see, right? And then it has also 31 spirulina capsules, which is a blue-green algae. And the thing I like about spirulina is because what it does is it adds a layer, a foundation to the toolkit. It adds that water element. Well, so does the tea, but this is a different level, because the spirulina is literally a blue-green algae that grows in the ocean. And so this is important because it's receiving all of the nutrients, all of the minerals, all of the things that are in the ocean that are unfathomable. All right. And so it allows you to reset that internal gut flora. Right. And then the other ingredients, the other products in the toolkit just add to it. So like the Flower of Life tea. So as you do that clearing, this allows you to make power plant moves, because it also includes a 1 ounce tincture called power plant moves. So that gives you those power plant moves. You understand? So it's the spirulina capsules, the tincture, and the Flower of Life tea blend that is called the Blooming Ratio Toolkit at ConsciousCreations.live. Now, please know that, again, I am in the process of expanding and all the things, y'all. And so supply is limited, right? Because we're talking about actual live plant material, right? Actual live plants that are growing. And so, you know, they grow how they grow when they grow, they do what they do. And that is their medicine. That is their medicine. Is they ain't everywhere. And they ain't everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're here when they're here, they do what they do. That is their medicine. So in any event, I'm so grateful for y'all. And yes, stay tuned for the parenting class. I'm going to post this because I really want to have this conversation with parents who may be parenting from a place of survival. You don't have to parent from survival, because that is what a lot of us were taught. That is what a lot of us were born into, right? We were born into families that were dealing with different layers and levels of survival. And so those were our examples, right? And that looks different for everybody. But what is the constant is the love of the children. The love of the children. And so if the love of the children is actually genuine and true, right? Then you get what I'm saying. That is the commonality, because we are the children. We are the future. We are that. We are the ancestors. You know what I mean? We are that. Because one of the things that I learned growing up without my father, without my biological father in my life until I was 13, that looks a certain way for a little girl, right? That presents a certain way. For me, that looked like self-esteem issues and abandonment wounds and fatherhood wounds and being too trusting, right? Because for me, I wanted to see, it was like my father's absence made me want to see him as my savior, my knight in shining armor, the man who would come rescue me from, you know what I mean? And so this fairy tale that I had of who my dad was, right? Of the man that he was, the man that he is, the man that he was, you know what I mean? And when I finally met him, I got to know the man himself, right? And it was a different journey, right? And it presented a certain way, and that allowed me to develop a certain way, a certain mindset, right? And as women, because we are that we are, this is why our love of self is so key. This is why it's so key, because we literally birth the future. And the future will look how we feed it, right? And so I realized that feeding Oreo, who's my dog, feeding him cucumbers helped to release the parasite that was sucking from him. You do with that what you will. But I love you, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much. Thank you for those of you who are pouring into our children, who are pouring into our love, right? So, www.thetishahillman.com if you want to get more information about the parenting class. Whenever I put that up, you know, but there's other things that I have available on the website that you should definitely check out, like the Rewriting Your Internal Constitution. That's a cohort that I offer for those who want to rewrite their internal constitution, right? And re-elect their own prefrontal cortex as the governing entity, if you may, of your government. So anyway, go to the website. Thank y'all so much for being. Thank you for all that you are doing. And thank y'all so much for tuning in and sharing love, spreading love, being love, and doing love.